I was checking my ARC website earlier and I saw that Haley Pham's new book, Just Friends, is available to download. So I'm going to attempt to read it. Attempt because I'm in a slump. I'll give you my opinion, whether or not it is objectively good, not whether or not I like it, because it is a second chance, and I historically don't like second chance. I'm interested to see what it's like. My prediction before we get into it, the writing will try to be reminiscent of Emily Henry, because I know she really loves Emily Henry and her writing. I know that the romance will be closed door. She does not like open door. Bummer. I think, for no reason other than my assumption, it's going to be a little more showing than telling. Don't kill me. Okay, I'm gonna start it now. I'm still on chapter 1. There have been multiple sentences where you read them and you're like, oh, she definitely consulted a thesaurus. The feeling is personified in my stomach. One of my favorite ones. I force myself to perceive its beauty. I have to yield to a conglomerate of pedestrians. So far, I'm right about one prediction. Wannabe Emily Henry. I'm astonished by her forwardness. Page 2. Cue the traumatic thing that gives the character personality. Okay, I don't want to sound like a cynic, but did she have an editor? Not to fix grammatical mistakes, although there have been a couple, but to fix, like, okay, if you have a specific phrase or sentence style, you're not supposed to repeat it a bunch of times, let alone twice on the same page. Mentions people going onto a boat, right? It was meant to hold 200 people, but became 1,000. Literally 2 paragraphs later, opening a convenience store and expanded to 2 locations, which later became 7. That's the same thing. You can't use that twice in the same page. Now that I've established I don't like the writing, and I don't think that the writing flows naturally, it feels very... Let me consult a thesaurus, why don't I? Stilted. The writing is very stilted. Stiff and self-conscious, or unnatural. That's how I would describe it. I'm going to try to overlook that as I continue so I can comment on the actual romance, which is my favorite part of a book. I'll save critical thoughts about the writing and just focus on the romance from here on out. I lied. I'm back to talk about the writing. I should have known that the overuse of big vocab words was going to be here. Prevalent. Emphasize how dire the situation was. Effervescent smile. It's a lot. And it feels unnatural. I should have known, because months ago, I saw a video of hers back when she was still talking about books, but it was when she was transitioning into the pretentious phase of talking about books, where she said, oh, I just read this sentence in a book, and I learned a new word. I love when that happens, then I have to look up the word to know what it means. The word was banal, which I think is not a fancy word, it's just banal. She went through the 3 words that she had found in the book. When she got to banal, she said, and this one, banal. So lacking in originality as to be obvious and boring. And now we have the second traumatic thing for our male main character that's going to give him personality, because they will inevitably be very two-dimensional. Yay. Remember what I said earlier about wanting to be like Emily Henry and showing instead of telling, but how she's going to do the opposite and tell us instead of show us? Yeah, it's happening. We're in a flashback. And why do you, 2-time state champion quarterback, have a fake football? Good to know he is the 2-time state champion quarterback. Wouldn't have known any other way. I feel like there are a lot of personal feelings that are being put into this book when they don't need to be. It kind of feels like she's complaining a little bit, minimizing other people's struggles because she had it worse. I don't mean to make your relationship with him sound easy, but at least you have a relationship to struggle with. Interesting. They just had a conversation about him and his struggles and what he's going through with his dad, and she made it all about herself. And earlier, she mentioned that there has to be some kind of accident and fight that happened, and that's why they're not friends anymore. And her great-aunt, grandma, whatever, says, why don't you apologize to him? And she's like, oh, it's not that simple. Girl, if you were in the wrong and you haven't apologized after all of these years, you're wondering why he's not talking to you? I don't like this girl. I don't like her. This is moving really quickly, not in a good way. The pacing, it's very odd. He calls her little bird. I don't like that. I'm really not enjoying this. Okay, I'm done with the book. Here's my review. It's not going to be a pretty one. I've spoken enough about the writing. I'm not going to keep talking about it because it's just going to piss me off more. When it comes to the characters, she is extremely unlikable. She's not a good person. She's not a good friend. He's barely in the book. You also don't get his point of view. I personally like dual point of view. You don't get really anything of him. He's not really there. The reason their relationship didn't work out in the first place was because of you guessed it, miscommunication. Was that resolved? Not until the last chapter. So this whole second chance relationship that they're rebuilding and getting to know each other again, and didn't really happen that much. There was barely any build-up. They're just, oh yay, we're together. Oh, and look, here's proof that we could have stayed together before. Oh no, we wasted all these years. Maybe you shouldn't have stayed together. There's also a big thing with grief in the book. I feel like that really overtook the plot. It's supposed to be a romance book. There was little to no romance. There was little to no communication. There was little to no resolution. It was just a lot about her grieving and being selfish and blaming it on the grief. Oh, I'm a bad person because I'm mourning. Oh, I was mean to you and I never apologized to you for this thing that happened. But it's your fault. It's your fault because right now I'm grieving. There was no chemistry. None. Sorry. No chemistry between these characters. She was insufferable. I can see the vision. I can see what she wanted to do. She tried to do. Sorry, let me use bigger words. What she tried to execute. It was very poorly done. This did not read well. I would not call this a romance book. It had middle grade writing, very little plot, and the romance was bad. Sorry. Am I being harsh? Yes. There are so many authors who write fantastic books and spend a long time on them and get the right editors to make it good and then have to work to get an agent and a publishing deal. And this just fell in her lap because people like her videos on the internet. Where was her team? Why did nobody tell her that the writing wasn't good? I'm being very harsh. I understand that. I apologize for how rude this is coming across. If you get the opportunity because of this thing and you take it, sure, 100% go for it. At least give a good product at the end. That's all I ask for. I'm also aware that I'm not an author. I never claimed to be an author. I can't write. I suck at writing, but I'm a reader. So I can tell you my opinion from reading it. I know that my opinion doesn't matter in the grand scheme of things, but if someone were to ask me, I would not recommend this book. Sorry.